by tonight. Up first, though, our own Jason Bellini, who spent the day with some of the 100,000 people now fleeing their homeland.
On a cold and miserable day at Medyka border crossing in Poland, we saw what war does to families.
Yep. Yeah, she's got a bit of time on the radio.
Mothers, wives, children. Most of the refugees here are women. Many have left their men behind. Irina Diduk is from the western city of Lviv. It took her more than 24 hours to get across the border with her mother, daughter, and their dog, Rocky.
We don't sleep because we have every time to move.
Irina told me she doesn't know where they will go, but is clear about why she left.
It's very simple because Putin start war in our country, and we can't understand what he will do.
You don't know what he's going to do.
And I think you also don't know what he will do, and no one knows because it's crazy, man.
There are fewer men in these crowds. Max is here because he's 17, just young enough to be permitted to leave.
I'm feeling pretty tired. It's been non-stop walking for the past 30 hours.
3 hours?
I had 30.
30 hours?
Yes. I haven't slept yet, so it's not exactly the most pleasant feeling in the world. Probably 9 kilometers from the border, we moved on our feet.
Across the border back home in Ukraine, fathers, sons, brothers are staying behind to fight. Any man between the ages of 18 and 60 is prohibited from leaving Ukraine and encouraged to sign up. Across Ukraine, they're taking up weapons, strapping on fatigues and body armor, preparing to defend and possibly die. The worst of the fighting inside Ukraine has been between soldiers, but residential buildings like this one in Kyiv have been hit. The choice facing families is to take refuge in places like metro stations or get out, even if it means breaking up the family.
Your husband, where is he?
There's some comfort here in Poland, a cup of hot coffee, sympathetic border authorities. But the pain of war, the pain of separation, is written on each and every face.
Jason Bellini joins us tonight. Jason, a few days ago, you were in this church basement. It was striking. You were showing what looked like, I'd call it catacombs, where people would eventually take shelter. Now we're seeing things like NICUs, very sick babies relocated to bomb shelters. And you start thinking, the mentally ill, the physically ill, they can't leave. What about Ukrainians who are stuck?
Oh, that's such a good point, Chance. And, well, I think the first thing that we should point out is that most Ukrainians are stuck. There's been around 50,000, 40,000 refugees thus far in the last 48 hours. But, I mean, considering the population, how big a country this is, that's just a very small number. And I think the important thing to recognize is that the border is set up in a way that you don't just, go marching on through. You have to be processed, and it's one by one. It's a very slow, it's a trickle. Even though there's a flood of people who want to get out, it's just a trickle. And that brings me back to what you were just asking about. If the people I was talking to today who are crossing the border from into Poland, they had to walk. I heard this from multiple people. They had to walk 9 kilometers. That'd probably be around 5 miles. And so, if you're not well, if you're elderly, you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, and not just that, they're staying up all night long, just standing in the cold, waiting their turn to enter Poland.
I'm glad you're doing this story because the numbers really don't tell this full story. I know over the years you've covered several conflict zones, refugee crises. How does this compare?
Well, I think back to Kosovo. That was 1999, and I was there during that refugee crisis. One difference was many people who were crossing over from Kosovo into Albania, they were coming on track.
I'm getting through scripture. The message going for you, you know. Shalom, Kolo Yahba, Shmir Shah, the one to the evidence of forgiveness, or the truth from in the internet, Shalom to the hopeful elect, 100 for 1,000 men, women, the 144,000 men, and the rim and the multitude, 1/3 of men, women, and children. That'll be saved in the last days. That's all for the brothers out there prophesying, waking up the elect. I just want to get a quick scripture. So Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but it's not yet. So we have wars and rumors of war. Now it's full blown action. People are fleeing. Nation shall rise against nation. We've seen that. Nations rise against nation. Kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes. And there's going to be all this stuff too. But which, in the midst of war, causes famine and increases inflation. It takes a toll on the economy. But all this leading, to the destruction of Babylon the Great. The Lord is stirring up the Medes. Get the scripture. Isaiah 13:17 said, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. As for gold, they shall not delight in it. The Medes is talking about Russia. The bear, Lord stirring up the Medes. It says, the bows, nuclear missiles, also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. The eye shall not spare children. Yeah, the nukes are not going to spare, No, World War III, they're not going to spare. And Babylon, which is America, Babylon the Great, the glory, we're going to see why it's not talking about past Babylon, Babylonian Empire. The glory of kingdom, the glory of kingdom, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire. So when has Babylon been destroyed by fire? That shows it's talking about future prophecy. It shall never be inhabited. It won't be inhabited ever again. Neither shall it dwell from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabians pitch tent there. Neither shall the shepherds make their food there. But wild beasts in the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance. Basically, it's gonna be desolate like desert. Creatures that belong in the desert. We're gonna see vultures, etc. Owls. Because it's gonna be barren. It said the wild beasts of the island shall cry in the desolate houses, and dragons in the pleasant places. Her time is near to come. Yeah, the time is near to come. Her days shall not be prolonged. It won't be prolonged. This could be a distraction too, but it's actually happening. It's provoking for them to move. They want a collapse. At the end of the day, they want to collapse to move on the new digital currency, to crash the dollar, etc. But also they want depopulation to control a smaller, concentrated small group of people. You know what I mean? That's the plan, but they're not going to succeed. The Lord's going to disappoint them. Their plan is not going to succeed. They're going to run into slavery. That's when they come out the bunkers. They think they're going to hide in the bunkers, but they're not. Let me get I'm ending with this. Okay. Lord's gonna. Hey. That's what we're hoping for. It says, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the wicked is the Lord. It says right there that the wicked is Yahweh by Yahshua's sword. He used them to punish us for us going off, for sinning, and also going to use them for judgment. To show his power. World War III and calamities, Jacob's trouble. It's disappoint him. The Lord's gonna disappoint him and cast him down. So I still go on, watch some videos, stay in the scriptures, make some videos. If you haven't yet, stay in the faith. And there's still more stuff that has to go on. The Mark of the Beast still have to come out. Jacob's trouble still have to come out. Famine of the word still has to come out. Persecution, demonization of the truth still has to come out. It might all fold in one. We don't know how the Lord is going to do it. We don't even know the day. He said no one knows the day and the hour. I'm paraphrasing. And it says, Scripture says he's coming as a thief in the night. So we don't know what day, time, or hour the Lord's coming. But we know by the sign that he's near. It says, Let me get that. I think I get that real quick. Okay, it says, now learn the parable of the fig tree when his branches are yet tender and put his forth leaves. Ye know that summer is nigh. We know it's not. So likewise ye, this is Matthew 24:32. It says, so likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. So we're seeing all this prophecy, all these signs, all these events going on, that we know that the return of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, the return of Yahweh Shai, who what ignorantly called Jesus, whatever that shit is. But his name is Yahweh Shai, not fucking Jesus. I used to get mad when somebody say that. Jesus, but yeah, but it is what it is. But you gotta put it down their level. Not that I'm anybody great, but I'm saying like in terms of put it down the worldly level, How, no, not word level, but how the word understand it, if not knowing what the name Yahushua is, or represent, or status. It said, during shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So all these things, you see in the time, the signs in heaven, signs in the moon, signs in the sun, signs in the sky, the chariots popping, the more chariot sightings, the more events going on, more earthquakes, more famine, more diseases, plagues going on. We know that the time is near. More weird shit going on with people and weather and these devils, what they got planned. Knowing these things, we know it's close to Yahushua's return. And like I said, like I said, we have to be meditating on the scriptures, focusing on Yahweh Shai, whatever position or circumstance you're in, do what you can. Keep the laws as the best of your ability. Watch the videos, go in the scriptures, build your faith. Because the day that's coming is going to be horrible. Let me get the scripture I was looking for. Scripture says it better, right? I can paraphrase and think about what scripture would do it better. It says 2 Peter 3:11. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So we're supposed to be in holy conversation and godliness. And wait upon the Lord. It said, he that wait upon the Lord, them that wait upon the Lord, he shall renew their strength. When people are bugging out, it's talking about spiritual power. That verse talking about spiritual power too, but you could also apply it to, he's going to strengthen us during that day. Those that Okay. Those that wait upon the Lord, not God. Those that, for free paraphrase, those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagle, like spiritual powers. But that first part could be also, it will renew your strength, your spiritual strength, as well as physical later on. But some elect men, hopeful elect, gonna get spiritual powers. You know, when the enemy will come like a flood. You know, it's supposed to be a quick video. You know, as you can see, things are escalating. And I hope this was edifying. Shalom.